Welcome to Hannity, this busy Friday news night, and tonight we are tracking multiple developing stories, including a ridiculous criminal indictment against Steve Bannon because he won't participate in the Democrats' January 6th political charade with a predetermined outcome. Now, coming up, we actually have a comprehensive list of Democrats who also need to be indicted for actual crimes. And tonight we'll also show you the latest terrible, horrific economic numbers. Every family in America is feeling it. And another bizarre moment from Kamala Harris in France, plus a new development from the Durham probe, and later a full report on cartel violence now raging inside the United States as the crisis on our southern border moves north as it spirals even further out of control. But first, the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse will soon be coming to an end. On Monday, we will hear closing arguments, and then the jury will be headed to deliberation. Today, the prosecution, they asked the judge to allow the jury now to consider several lesser charges. I guess they figured out what we all know, and that is their case is not going very well. And now at the 11th hour, they are attempting to lower the bar. Maybe they overcharged in the beginning. Now, some of these requests have been accepted, others have not. Several other charges are still under consideration by the judge, who once again berated the prosecution, and again for good cause. Take a look.
That's your best picture, the one I saw over there?
No.
Where's the best picture, please?
We'll show it to the finder of fact.
You're asking me to give an instruction. I want to see the best picture.
It's the...
We need to get Mr. Stute over here, I think.
You need it on the big TVs.
You need it on the big TV?
From bizarre, weird, pointless arguments, weak evidence, hypothetical questions, allegations, one after another of prosecutorial misconduct, prosecution has been a dumpster fire from beginning to end. Now, no matter what happens with the charges, the facts in this case, they remain the same. Based on video evidence, and there is a lot of it, and eyewitness accounts, there was a lot of that as well. It is apparent that 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse was defending himself from imminent bodily harm or even death. In other words, exactly what the Wisconsin law allows for. Now, the first individual shot and killed, a 36-year-old man named Joseph Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum was a pedophile, convicted of sexually abusing 5 little boys ages 9 to 11. Prior to the riot in Kenosha, Rosenbaum was in a psychiatric hospital for attempting suicide. And according to Rittenhouse and other eyewitness accounts, Rosenbaum charged Rittenhouse, assaulted him, and then attempted to grab his gun before Rittenhouse ultimately defended himself and discharged his weapon. Now, Rittenhouse was then chased by an angry mob. We've shown you this tape of rioters who knocked him to the ground, attempted to literally curb stomp his head right into the pavement. Now, one of the individuals chasing him was a 26-year-old named Anthony Huber. Now, Huber was also a convicted felon who once held his own grandmother and brother at knife point. He was ultimately charged with false imprisonment and choking his brother. Later, he faced drug and disorderly conduct charges. On the night of August the 25th, Huber assaulted Rittenhouse with a skateboard and then attempted to grab his gun before Rittenhouse shot and killed him. His life was in imminent danger. Now, shortly thereafter, the third individual who was shot but survived, his name is Gage Grosskreutz. He pointed a loaded gun at Rittenhouse's head. He admitted it on the stand under oath, pointed a loaded gun at his head before Rittenhouse shot him in the arm in self-defense. Now, this guy, Grosskreutz, was a 26-year-old college senior who was previously convicted of a gun charge and several other misdemeanors. Now, despite all the facts in this case, the video evidence, the eyewitness accounts, the mob, the media, their friends in the Democratic Party, they're all eager to vilify and have been from day one 18-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse. They all made up their minds months ago before any evidence was presented. They rushed to judgment. They obviously don't believe in due process. They don't believe in the presumption of innocence. He was enemy number one from day one. Watch this.
What the right is saying about Kyle Rittenhouse is that, well, the government didn't do its job, so it took a 17-year-old kid to come in and do what was right. That's vigilantism. That's not what people are not supposed to be vigilantes.
That acting job of the crying, I can't even look at it.
Well, this is
That is one of the worst acting acting jobs I've ever seen.
He committed a murder or two murders and attempted to murder someone else.
What kind of idiot 17-year-old gets a giant gun and goes to a riot? He has no license. He has no training. He thinks he's going to scrub graffiti off with his AR-15. I mean, the stupidity of this.
When Rittenhouse got emotional, it may have come across to the jury as a genuine expression of remorse, or, on the other hand, maybe it was crocodile tears designed to elicit sympathy. This is white privilege on steroids.
Loved Jeffrey Toobin in particular. What kind of idiot lawyer would do what he did on a Zoom call? Anyway, while the mob and the media and, of course, politicians rush to judgment and they're vilifying Kyle Rittenhouse, they're also very angry at the judge who's presiding over the case. Why? Oh, because the judge has been very tough, rightly so, on the prosecution, rightly calling out their dirty tactics all along the way. He also wore, oh, God forbid, an American flag tie on Veterans Day, and his ringtone was a version of Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA. And he made a joke about a supply chain crisis. So now the media mob are accusing the judge of being a racist monster. In other words, what they call anybody they disagree with, and auditioning for a job on the Fox News channel. Maybe we should have a judge show. Who knows? Take a look.
The judge's actions during the trial so far now coming under scrutiny and raising questions about his behavior and demeanor.
Let's talk about the judge. Actually, let's play this, because I've never seen anything like this before, where a judge yelled quite like this. Oh, we don't have it. But you saw the judge going bonkers.
This judge yelling at a prosecutor or anyone in the courtroom or treating anyone the way that he treats, I think it's problematic. And I don't think it's normal.
He has made a series of decisions. Each one perhaps may be individually defensible, but in totality lead to the impression of a biased, racist judge.
It appears that this judge is auditioning for the cameras and looking for his next gig on Fox News or OWN or whatever, OAN or whatever it is. I mean, this judge is going beyond the pale.
Remember, in the twisted world of the mob and the media, the Democratic Party, there's no presumption of innocence, zero due process, and no rule of law. Just feeling and opinion. And by the way, they're usually wrong. They were wrong on Ferguson. They were wrong on Baltimore, Freddie Gray. Many were wrong on UVA, the Duke lacrosse case, Richard Jewell. Remember that kid from Covington High School? Yeah, he's going to be a billionaire. And when their feelings and opinions are derailed by facts and logic, well, the left just screams racism. What a shock. Everything the left doesn't like, apparently, is racist. Everything every voter who doesn't vote the right way, well, we'll call them a racist, too. Every 2 years, every 4 years, that's their playbook. Every American that doesn't agree with them, every person that dares get in their way. If Democrats really cared about what really happened in a riot, why don't they pay attention to the 534 violent riots that took place in the summer of 2020? Where is that commission, Liz Cheney? Maybe they should start a commission, just like they did with the violent riot that we condemned on January 6th. They don't seem to care about truth or justice or equal application of our laws or the pain and suffering. They only care about the narrative. Remember, in the summer of 2020, dozens of Americans died, thousands of cops were injured, billions in dollars in theft and property damage and arson.